builds credibility when you're willing to admit when you've gotten something wrong. And by the way, remember, this is what she said when Joe Biden ultimately ended up dropping out of the presidential race.
Just thinking about the president right now, what a man, what a patriot.
Girl, the American public were getting boring every night with your MSNBC show. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Go outside and talk to real people. She is so out of touch with ordinary people. It is amazing.
Kasparian just went head-to-head with MSNBC's Golden Girl Rachel Maddow, delivering a blistering takedown on a recent podcast. She called Maddow out, shocking many on the left for throwing punches within her own circle. What did Maddow say to spark it? And what did Kasparian fire back that left jaws dropping? I've got the clips. Buckle up.
He hasn't been disqualified from running for the presidency by anything having to do with any of his performance. It's just that it's going to be a tough fight. And so I think the backup plan is fight harder. The backup plan is make sure you win the Senate. The backup plan is people should volunteer earlier and do more and give more money and do all of those things.
That was MSNBC host Rachel Maddow back in June of 2024. And keep that in mind when you consider that Semaphore spoke to key media figures across digital, print, and legacy media, Republicans and Democrats, to discuss the things that they got wrong in 2024.
Anna kicks off the show with old footage of Rachel Maddow bragging about her 2024 predictions. Maddow and her network had insisted Biden was perfectly fit to run, dismissing his gaffes as harmless slip-ups. They pushed that narrative hard, until reality hit and they had to abandon ship.
Judging by that video you just watched, Rachel Maddow did get some things wrong. The question is, did she learn a damn thing about it? Well, rather than citing her real mistakes and terrible predictions, she actually ended up blaming her audience. So here's her statement to Semaphore. She said, I thought people would be more unnerved by JD Vance, less the cat lady thing and more the Americans are going to have to get over the dictator phobia Mencius Moldbug thing. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Mencius Moldbug, that's a pseudonym for Curtis Yarvin, and Curtis Yarvin is someone who's against liberal democracy and is in favor of a monarchy. So he seems to have a tough time defending that position. Cenk Uygur actually interviewed him about it, and it was embarrassing if you ask.
And that's their play every time. Never take the L, just gaslight the audience into thinking we misheard them. Legacy media pulled the same stunt when they swore Trump would lose by a razor-thin margin. When reality proved them wrong, they flipped the script and blamed us for misinterpreting their analysis. Same with Maddow. She bet on Biden running in 2024, and when that collapsed, she didn't admit fault. Instead, she spun it as a noble, circumstantial exit. Peak delusional damage control.
October 1st, Gallup released the following poll comparing voter ratings between Tim Walz, who was the VP pick for Kamala Harris, and JD Vance. And yeah, I mean, she is right that people didn't seem to fear JD Vance as much as she was hoping for. So at that point in time, in October of 2024, less than half of registered voters nationally had a positive view of Tim Walz or JD Vance. A combined 46% rate Walz as either an excellent or pretty good choice versus 41% for JD Vance. And despite Walz's slight lead on this measure, the two were equally likely to be rated as poor choices. Just under 4 in 10 voters see each as such. So she is right that people didn't buy into the fear mongering about JD Vance as much as she hoped for, but to kind of pivot to what she believes her audience got wrong, or the Democratic voters got wrong, or voters in general got wrong, instead of taking ownership of the thing she got wrong, is kind of amazing.
When the Biden collapse hit, Rachel Maddow didn't skip a beat. She just pivoted. She smugly predicted Americans wouldn't warm to JD Vance, insisting Tim Walz was the safer bet. But reality disagreed. Vance not only gained support, he helped rally Trump's base and push him back into the White House. Did Maddow admit she was wrong? Of course not. She twisted the story, gaslighting her audience and pretending her words meant something else. Same old playbook. Rewrite the script mid-scene and hope no one notices. Spoiler, we noticed.
Dictatorphobia, Mencius Moldbug thing. What are you talking about? So look, I interviewed Curtis Yarvin, as Anna pointed out, so I know what she's talking about. The average person doesn't, and nobody knows about Curtis Yarvin. And yeah, he's comical and ridiculous, and that's why I'm worried about J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, and that's why I voted against them. But the average guy doesn't know that Curtis Yarvin is in favor of a monarchy, which is actually a dictatorship, which is what J.D. Vance was, the fact that J.D. Vance is in favor of that is problematic, etc. So, one, out of touch with what actual human beings are going through. They're worried about gas prices and food prices. They're not worried about Mencius mold bug who they've never heard of. And secondly, and even more importantly, she's saying, damn it, the fear-mongering didn't work.
Beyond the usual fear-mongering, Democrats and their media ally Rachel Maddow went scorched earth on Trump and J.D. Vance. It wasn't critique, it was character assassination. Trump was painted as the devil himself, Vance as a backwoods boogeyman poised to drag America into ruin. Night after night, Maddow warned a Trump-Vance ticket would collapse democracy, erase civil rights, and doom Western civilization. It was apocalyptic fiction packaged as political analysis, designed not to inform, but to scare voters into submission. And when none of it happened, they moved on. No apologies, no accountability, just silence and spin.
Amazing that, look, I'm always amazed at the, allergic reaction to any self-reflection at all. It's okay to admit that you got things wrong. It's actually admirable when people admit, especially people in media who are supposed to be, sharing accurate information. It's okay to say, look, I got that wrong. In fact, we're going to give you examples of people who actually did take ownership, and I give them a lot of credit for that. It builds credibility when you're willing to admit when you've gotten something wrong.
Credibility's long gone. For media outlets, it's all about eyeballs and ideology, and Trump bashing was both politics and profit. They built a whole industry on outrage, feeding viewers non-stop hate and panic. Truth optional, drama mandatory, cash guaranteed.
She said when Joe Biden ultimately ended up dropping out of the presidential race.
Just thinking about the president right now, what a man, what a patriot. What an act of selfless devotion to your country. And he has been a phenomenal president. He ended the presidency of Donald Trump at one disastrous term. And he did it while being decent and civil and honorable.
Biden drove the economy into one of its worst slumps. Prices up, wages down, the border wide open, and America's global standing in free fall. Through it all, Rachel Maddow never admitted fault, doubling down and hoping people forgot. But America remembers, and her record on Biden is set in stone.
That is the first presidential debate of the 2024 election cycle at a very unusual time with very unusual format, and I think with probably strange results. We'll see the response from both sides. But if you're the Biden campaign, I think you wish that this night will be remembered in reverse as the president became sort of stronger, including his voice, the strength of his voice over the course of the night, probably peaking towards the very, very end of the debate. For the Trump campaign, I think it's fair to say it was the inverse. President Trump, just in terms of his coherence and finishing a sentence and seeming to be in control of his own emotions, started off as strong as he was. The strongest point for him was at the very beginning of the debate, and then over the course of the night, he became less coherent and more visibly flustered.
Biden's debate performance was a disaster. He slipped, fumbled, and froze, leaving Democrats in full panic mode. Yet Rachel Maddow claimed he nailed it, seeing strength where the rest of the country saw a meltdown. Independent media, podcasts, and even senior Democrat strategists called it like it was. Trump dominated, Biden looked lost. But Maddow doubled down, brushing off the obvious collapse and insisting everyone else was wrong. Either she's deluded or thinks her audience is. In the end, it was smug spin, and viewers weren't buying it.
When boring was absolutely what we needed. And just, his career of decades in public service as a senator and as a very successful vice president and as a phenomenally successful president There is no single thing that he has done in that entire career that is a greater or more consequential act of service and sacrifice to this country.
Girl, the American public were getting boring every night with your MSNBC show. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Go outside and talk to real people. She is so out of touch with ordinary people. It is amazing.
During Biden's presidency, much of the media operated in a bubble, avoiding everyday Americans, cherry-picking experts who echoed their talking points, and filtering out any dissent. It was an echo chamber where self-congratulation replaced honest reporting. When reality eventually broke through, via polls, public outrage, and undeniable facts, some figures like Mehdi Hasan admitted their mistakes and even apologized, earning respect in the process. Rachel Maddow chose the opposite path. She defended Biden's disastrous debate, smeared Trump and J.D. Vance with fear-mongering, and doubled down on her failed narratives. The public noticed the spin, the hubris, and the refusal to take accountability. And once credibility is gone, no amount of polished commentary can bring it back. Maddow chose denial over honesty, and in the end, she played herself.